Hi Homeworthy, I'm Scarlett. Welcome to my home in Indiana.
You're watching Homeworthy, where we believe every home has a story.
Hi, I'm Scarlett Shine, and I am a commercial banker. So where we are in the world right now is in New Albany, Indiana, which is about 15 minutes across the bridge from Louisville, Kentucky. And this is my home. I'm excited to show you all a few of my favorite rooms today. I would consider my style to be traditional. I also like to use the term grand millennial, which is kind of known as grandma and millennial combined. So I have a lot of antiques and more traditional pieces, along with a few modern touches as well throughout the house. My husband and I have lived here with our dog for 5 years, and we recently welcomed a baby in July. So we have a 7-week-old. So I'm excited to show you all the nursery as well. But we love this neighborhood and we're born and raised in this area. When my husband and I were looking at homes, we wanted a more traditional home. I would consider us both to be old souls, and a lot of homes that we were looking at were very modern, brand new, or they were just a style that I didn't really feel was at home for us. And I kind of like that homey feel, that it can have personal touches. I also had a lot of antique furniture that we had from family members, so we really wanted to make sure that the house fit our style. We also knew that we wanted to start a family eventually, so this was a great space to grow and also host events. I can't cook that well, but I do love to decorate and host, so this was a great spot for us to do that. Welcome to our home in New Albany, Indiana. I'll start off first with this entryway cabinet. I actually got this for free off of a Facebook neighborhood page. So I might paint this someday, but I thought, okay, what a find, and it fits really well in the space. This picture is obviously a favorite. It's from my husband and I's wedding, and we had our guests sign it. So this is our entryway picture. And then one of the things that I also love is just this little bowl that you can throw stuff in when you walk in the door. This was my grandparents, so I like little finds like that. The next thing that I love in our entryway is this chair. This was in my grandparents' bedroom for years. I love this color. It's a velvet chair. And then this pillow, my great-grandmother actually, she did this on needlepoint. So, and she was a golfer, I'm a golfer. So I'm glad that this has stayed within the family and that it's now in our house. So my husband and I both love to play golf. The next space we're gonna look at is our front sitting room. This is one of my favorite rooms in the house. There's quite a few special pieces in here. This is probably my favorite room in the house, just due to having so many pieces from family members. This needlepoint piece on the wall, my great-grandmother actually made this, and she lived till she was 98 years old. So she and I had a really good relationship. She was around until my early 20s. So I'm really glad that I now have this in our home. And this next piece, this was my granny's, and spent so much time at her house. This beautiful china cabinet was in her formal dining room, and this worked really well in here. And I do have some of our china in here, but I also just have special pieces from travel and pictures and things like that. So I'm really glad we were able to hang on to this and put this in here, because I remember this from being itty bitty, and we would always have family dinners at my granny's house on Sundays. So I'm glad that it's continuing to stay in the family. These chairs were also in my grandmother's formal living room, and like I said, I really loved her style and kind of just cherished my time and memories there. So I'm really glad I got to bring this along in our home. I love this wall. This has kind of become my mini gallery wall. I've collected these from different places that I've traveled, or they've been gifted to me from family members. So this kind of has a special place that I'm going to just keep adding to it. This piece of art I bought off the street in Italy. This gentleman was actually out helping his dad. This dad was a painter in Rome, still is painting, but has been doing this for over 60 years. I really loved this piece of art when I came across it, and the colors matched perfectly with this room, and I feel like it really brings it all together. So next I'll talk about the chandelier. This is probably my favorite thing in our house when it comes to decor. This was my grandparents, my granny and poppies. This was in their bedroom in their house. They lived there for almost 50 years. And like I said, I spent so much time there growing up. And when we were putting their house on the market, my mom said, you know, I hate to leave that chandelier. Like, do you think you'd want it? Like, that's your style. And it fit perfectly in this room. So I'm thrilled that I kind of get to carry a little piece of them with me throughout this room. And I think as life goes on, I will always take this to whatever house we live in. And I also wanted to get a table that had a mirror, because I love how when you're sitting here and you look down, you see the reflection of the ceiling and the chandelier. So those are just kind of the unique things when it comes to design that I just like to add that little extra special touch. So that's why I chose a mirrored table that, you know, I could put coffee table books on. I have our wedding album, candles, and kind of switch that out seasonally too. And then we'll head to this side of the room. I love these colorful curtains. Like I said, day to day, I kind of work in an environment where there's not as much fun colors and different things like that. So I wanted to kind of really bring out my personality in this room. And this couch was also in my granny and poppy's house. And another thing I'll mention, we are big animal print people in this household. Love it. And so in this room, we have tiger print, and I have different animals spread throughout other parts of the house. This chess table, my husband and I bought during COVID. He loves to play chess, and he taught me during COVID while there was nothing to do. So we always kind of joke, we haven't played it for a while, but for a while we did sit down and play chess, and he actually found these really unique pieces on Etsy that a guy handmade. So we really like this area. Hopefully we can start playing some more chess, teach our daughter how to play chess. So we just thought this was kind of a fun little activity for the sitting room. I spent a lot of time at my grandparents' house growing up, and there's actually a lot of furniture from their home in this house. My grandmother has since passed, my grandfather is still alive, and I just really loved the traditional pieces that they had in their home. They loved to travel and experience different cultures, and they also had a lot of curated pieces that they had picked up from their travels. Growing up, my grandmother would also take me down to Main Street in our hometown of New Albany, and we would go look at Mansion Row, and I just really fell in love with the architecture and the history, and kind of watching how, you know, these houses transformed throughout time. So I've always kind of had a love for the older style. And like I said, I'm a little bit of an old soul. So that's kind of where my love for antique pieces comes into play. But I also love new stuff as well. So that's kind of where the grand millennial comes in, and I'm able to mesh both of those, the new and the old. Next, we're gonna head to the formal living room. Welcome to our formal living room. I'm gonna show you one of my favorite pieces in the house. This baby grand piano was my great-grandma Evie's. This actually used to be brown, and one of my cousins had it painted black. So this is kind of special on that side of the family, because this has been passed down through generations and has kind of been in whoever's house that it fits in at the time. So hopefully, you know, someday I can also pass it down to a family member as well. So this, like I said, was my great grandmother's, and I did grow up playing piano. I can't say I played forever, but I played for 7 or 8 years. I wouldn't say I'm that great, but I'm really glad that we have this in the house, and I love the look of baby grand pianos. I think they're beautiful. I love the furniture in this space. I discovered these chairs about a year ago and just I really love the tall wingback chairs. I just think they really make a statement. So I picked these out. And then the green couch I designed. I love the color green, and I felt like we really needed just a pop of color in here. Usually I buy neutral furniture, but I said, nope, I want to do a fun piece. So chose this green velvet, and I really feel like this pulled the room together. Green and blue are my favorite colors. My husband loves blue in particular. So we really tried to bring both of those together and kind of keep that classic feel, but also have a modern element. For example, I kind of went with more of a modern table with the burl wood, and kind of put some more modern accessories in here to kind of bring that grand millennial style together. So this is also, I'd say this is my second favorite room and communal room in the house. Love hosting in here. And this is the first year this room is finally done. So I'm excited to host Christmas in here as well. These built-in shelves were here when we moved in, and I wanted to make this a mix of family photos, little pieces from travel, knickknacks. I love a good knickknack. And a few of these, like these were in my Granny and Poppy's house. I found this piece of art when I was in France. This little box is actually from our wedding videographer that he delivered our wedding video in. And then we have some wedding photos. And I love a good bowl that you can just throw random things in. So I have some cards and like some of my dog's little collars in there. So I love kind of seeing a creative shelf that has a mix of different things. These ginger jars I found at Home Goods. I love a good find at Home Goods. This fireplace screen was also in my Granny and Poppy's house, so I'm glad that I could incorporate it here with the mirror. And then this side I did similar to those shelves. This is just a mix of family photos, some personal books, photo books. These pictures up there were also from a family member from when they went to Europe. So it's kind of a curated mix of knickknacks, family photos, and little treasures, as I like to say. Absolutely love the curtains in this room. I did work with an interior designer to source these. This fabric is Tebow, and I wanted something bright and bold. And I also just think this is such a classic print with the bamboo. And we decided to do the gold rod, and we decided to actually do a square rod, which is a little bit unique. And I kind of love just the pop that the blues and the navies bring out in this room. And these pillows are also a Tebow print, and this kind of brings in the chinoiserie chic feel into the room with the ginger jars. I don't like anything to be too matchy-matchy, but I like a room to come together. So I feel like after kind of sourcing the curtains and pulling the different colors together and adding some prints, like I said, I love an animal print, so we have the leopard pillows on the couch. I really feel like this all came together really nicely, or at least how I really liked it. This is our powder room, which is just off the entryway and formal living room. This wallpaper is one of my favorite wallpapers that I've ever seen. I wanted something bold in here. I wanted it to make a statement. And I feel like with the greens, the blues, we have some hints of almost magenta and pinks and purple. I just felt like this wallpaper really tied all the rooms in the house together, but also kept them different. So nothing's too matchy-matchy, but I really wanted it to flow. This is a Tebow wallpaper. And once again, I really like this scenery look and how it kind of flows throughout the bathroom. I love gold, so I wanted to go with gold accents. So we went with gold mirror, gold lighting, and other gold hardware. Decided to go, I had the option to do blue or white with the vanity, and I thought, you know what, we're gonna be bold, so let's go with the more navy blue to match the paper. So I love this room. I like live plants when I can keep them alive, so I wanted to add a little orchid in here and kind of bring out the purple. This towel is one of my favorites. I love a good monogram, and this is from Wheezy Towels. So I thought this would add a nice little touch. I love personalization, and I really liked that. I also put this little picture in here. I got this when I went to Paris in Montmartre, so I like finding little pieces of art when I go travel that we can put throughout the house. I have a few favorite design tips that are my go-tos personally. I try to decorate in odd numbers. I just think spatially that helps make the room come together. I don't know if you can see behind me on my shelves, I tend to decorate in groups of 3s or even 5s. I just find that kind of adds some pops to the room and adds more dimension when you can decorate in odd numbers. You should always have a touch of the color black in your room. So even though I've kind of decorated in some really bright colors in here, I always like to have little pops of black. I just think it adds a level of sophistication. Working in commercial banking, I absolutely love it. It's fun, but it's a lot of numbers and very serious conversations. And I am able to really come home, and when I decorate, I want there to be just a ton of creativity that I feel like, okay, I can turn my mind off from work and kind of have a whole different side of myself that I maybe don't always get to express at work. So when that comes to home, I feel like decorating with a ton of color and really just, I like to curate, so from travels and bringing a lot of fun, spunky things into play. I love feathers, I love bright colors, as you can see what I'm wearing today, but I wouldn't necessarily be able to wear this at work. I have two different sides of myself. I have my commercial banking side, and then when I come home to decorate, I feel like I can really bring out the other side of my personality and, my beliefs and what I really enjoy looking at when I'm not at work. Now I'm gonna take you to the primary bedroom. Welcome to our primary bedroom. I really wanted to make this space cozy and relaxing. I have a lot of very bright, bold colors in the rest of the house, and we wanted to keep color in here, but it also just be soft and relaxing after a long day of work, after a long week, where we can just come in and relax. This bed it's definitely different. I found this at a place, it's called My Chic Nest, and I have not seen another headboard like it. It's definitely different, but that's what I wanted in here, and I kind of went with the darker nail heads too, to just kind of pull in a little bit of a darker color. This bedspread is actually from Amazon, so this was one of my deals that I found. And then this print, like I said, I love animal print. I got this from Ballard Designs. And then this pillow I got from Little Design Co. Luckily, I was ordering samples trying to match this color on the wall, because this is almost a periwinkle color. It's technically blue, but I was having a hard time kind of figuring out, okay, what pillow can I get to match? Because this room was actually this color before we moved in, which worked out perfectly. And then I just kind of matched the rest of the room to fit in with the walls to kind of create our own vibe. And then these lamps, this was another home goods find. I have these, which are kind of this marble texture. I absolutely love the ceiling in this room, and the chandelier was here when we moved in, and we were like, all right, we're leaving it here. And I feel like it flows. And like I mentioned earlier with my one design tip, you need just a touch of the color black. So I feel like the chandelier really does that for this room with all these other light colors. This mirror I found at the Ballard Designs outlet, and all I know is if you did not buy it at the outlet, it was very expensive. They said this was damaged. I got this for 75% off, and it opens up and it stores jewelry. So I thought that was fun. So all my fun costume jewelry is in there, and it's also nice because it matched the room, and I got a great deal on it, and the damage is on the back, so I don't see it, and that was perfect for us. Now we'll head up to the nursery. Welcome to the nursery. I should say this is like my new favorite room of the house. We spend a lot of time in here. My husband and I did not find out the gender of our baby until delivery day came. I've had a lot of fun trying to gather things quickly to get this room together. The first thing I want to talk about is a Facebook Marketplace find. I think this is the best Facebook Marketplace find ever. Is this gold mirror. A lady was selling it because she had to move and she was like, I hate to part with this mirror, but I don't have any place for it. And I just thought, okay, we kind of have a bow theme going on in here. And I love the style. This is my vibe. And I thought this would be beautiful for our little girl's nursery. So great Facebook Marketplace find. This dresser, my mother-in-law found at a yard sale. It was brown, but my mother-in-law sanded it and my mom painted it. So we've had quite the teamwork in here, but I think it was like less than $100. So having a Facebook Marketplace find and a yard sale find, I'm like, woohoo, this is great. And then these little bow knobs, I just ordered off Amazon to kind of keep the bow theme going. These sconces are probably one of my favorite things in the room. They're from a company called Mrs. Alice. I think they're beautiful. I really wanted colored shades. A lot of sconces, they just come with white shades. So I really like that we could continue with the blush color in the room. The crib is an antique brass. I just think this is really pretty. I think a lot of places carry this crib, but I really wanted an antique brass crib to kind of give that vintage look. And like I said, we love animal print in this house. So we kind of went with a little tiger cub theme. And I thought this print was really cute with the pinks, the blues, the greens. It kind of brought all those colors in together. So like I said, we love blues, we love greens, and we like pink in this house. So that's kind of how when I came across this print, I thought that was perfect. This little bench I found a few months ago. So like I said, we did not know if it was gonna be a boy or a girl. And I knew we were gonna have blue, pink, and green in here no matter what. And I found this at HomeGoods. I thought this looked like a custom piece. So I was very excited when I found this at HomeGoods. And then I wanted to kind of carry over the tiger print. And these pillow covers I got off Amazon. And then these curtains I got off Pottery Barn. So I wanted to carry over the bows, but I kind of just wanted a soft blush. I still wanted this room to just be very soft and cozy. And kind of where our bold print comes in is with the pink and blue and green tiger print. And like I said, I love this bench. I know there's been many a times where my husband and I and the grandparents were up here hanging out with the baby. So it's kind of nice that we all have a place to sit. And plus, as she gets older, she can keep toys in here, and it's kind of a cozy place to sit by the window. This rocker and ottoman I found from Target, and what I loved is the fringe on the bottom. I just felt like that makes it look like custom. So I appreciated those little details, and this seat is actually really comfortable. My husband and I both love it. So it's been a great choice for the baby. And then we love to read in this house, and I wanted to have a really cute place to display some of her books. So these are some of our favorites, and she has a lot more books, but these are the ones that we have on display. And we just like picking one and we'll read it to her, and we'll just continue to collect books. And we might switch some things around seasonally too, depending upon what time of year it is. This is my daughter's keepsake box. This came from a company called Petite Keep, and I think these are beautiful. Not only can you get these for a child, but they make great wedding gifts. And eventually, as she gets older, I'm gonna, put all of her special mementos and just anything that we want to make sure stays here with us over time, we'll put in here, and this will always be hers. And, what I really like about this room is I wanted to keep it soft and elegant, but also fun. And I figured, these prints could carry over as she gets older. So we didn't do anything too babyish, but we also wanted to add, some sweet and small touches for when she's a young child. So we have her little stuffed animals, and we have this is a little rocker that's a golden doodle. we have a golden doodle, so she has her little dog rocker here. We spend a lot of time in this room, and so we really tried to put a lot of heart and thought into how we brought this space together, and I'm excited to see how our little one grows into it as she gets older. I would say my favorite room in the house is our front sitting room. It has a lot of pieces from different family members, including my grandmother that I mentioned earlier, and it's a very beautiful shade of blue, and I just find that very relaxing. My husband and I both really like the color blue. I really wanted our home to, reflect a space that we could come home and relax, but also enjoy all of the treasures and pieces that came from people before us or things that I've thrifted. And my front room, it's very colorful. Like I said, the walls are blue. My window treatments have multiple colors in them. And I also have a lot of furniture in there from family members. So I like the color, it's cozy, and it's just kind of a sweet space. Home to me is where your family is and where you can be creative and be yourself and, share things that you love with not only your family, but also your friends and whoever you're welcoming to your home. That's part of the reason that I love to host. Like I said, family is so important to my husband and I, and we've really been able to curate our house and bring in pieces that were past family members, and that's really special to us. And we've been able to kind of reflect family and love through our home and how we decorate. Home is where those people are that make life special. We really wanted a home that kind of reflected that, but also is cozy. I do love beautiful pieces and things that, you find that are unique, but it's also a place where you can relax and just turn your mind off and be yourself and enjoy the coziness of your home.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to go to homeworthy.com for exclusive content, shopping guides, and so much more.